Welcome, everybody. We're so glad to have you here. Thanks for coming out to our neighborhood district for quarterly meeting. And we look forward to having a good discussion tonight. I just want to give you a little warning. We have a new sound system in here, which allows the people on Zoom, welcome people on Zoom, by the way, which allows the people on Zoom to hear anything that goes on in this room. So that means we don't necessarily have to run with a microphone for every comment. The one thing you need to remember is that if you just whisper to your neighbor, it might pick up too. So if you're going to whisper something naughty, don't do it. But we're really grateful for the new sound system. I would still use a microphone because I think, sometimes people have a hard time hearing in the room, just, if you're hard of hearing. So I'll use a microphone. I'm Beth Hedengren. I'm the vice chair of our neighborhood district executive board, and that's the collection of all the neighborhood representatives for the five neighborhoods: Grandview South, Grandview North, Rivergrove, North Park, and Carterville. That's it. And we're a little sparse in attendance today. It is still a little summer. And so we have Mindy Jepson from Grandview South, and I also represent Grandview South, and Aaron Scablin from Rivergrove, and Eric Chase from North Park. And we may have some others show up. So let's get started. We have coming up, we're going to have two city department presentations. One, the sanitation manager is going to tell us how we've been recycling wrong. I've been reading the materials, and boy, it's going to be really discouraging. But now we can learn and do it right. And then we'll have the Provo sustainability program explained to us. And then we have a Provo school district update. We'll go to that point, and then after that we'll talk about some district matters. So Bryce, would you like to come and tell us about our recycling? There, by the way, there's materials on the back table.
Yes, there is a handout in the back. There is a handout in the back with all of this information on it. So please feel free to grab that handout. I actually, way of introducing myself, I actually live in Grandview North. So I live on 1400 in between 15 and 1750. So up there right by Westridge. So this is, you guys are my neighbors. So, and I say that in all sincerity because the subject on recycling is actually something that's I deal with all the time, and I understand the complexity of it. I have 4 kids, and there's a lot of times I go out and look at the recycle bin and have to pull stuff out because even my kids don't completely understand what's going on with it, or the green waste or something like that. So I understand it is difficult. So that's why I do this, is to try and help. So I just understanding recycling. We go to the next slide. Okay. Really simply, this is called the Super 6. There's also another one called Top 10. They're pretty much the same program. And it's just a really easy way of looking at what's recyclable. Cardboard. When we say cardboard, that's cardboard that doesn't have other things on it. Food waste, oils, for instance, a pizza box. Pizza box has the food waste, has the oils from the pizza, it can't go in the recycling. So when we say clean cardboard, doesn't have to have, it doesn't have to have the labels pulled off of it. It doesn't have to have the tape pulled off of it. But it can't have oils and other items on it. Paper, simple, that can be newspaper, it can be printer paper, it can be mail. You don't have to pull the plastic off the windows. We do ask you to take the credit cards out, or the little, not the little cardboard, laminated cardboard thingy that they put in those envelopes for credit. Food boxes, that's your, what do they call it, chipped paper. So chipped paper is gonna be your cereal boxes, your pasta boxes. It looks like cardboard, but it's finely chipped up paper that's pressed into a cardboard. Aluminum cans, steel cans, and plastic containers. And so plastic containers is where we get really confused. So I'll get deeper into that. Aluminum cans and steel cans, we ask you to wash those out. Because again, the oils, so something like beans or something that might have oils in it, that does need to get washed out. Okay, yeah, that doesn't need to get washed out. It doesn't have to be soaked up, doesn't have to be really well done, just a courtesy rinsing of it. You don't have to use 5 gallons to clean out a 12-ounce can. Then plastic containers. So plastic containers are drinking containers, milk jugs, and containers with lids. Can you go, I know there's cardboard here, there's a couple. Can you go down to plastic one? Right.
I put a clicker up at that thing.
Is there, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even know that. I would have been taking care of this myself. I'm sorry. Okay, so there's 2 kinds of plastics. There's number 1, which is PET. That's your standard your water bottle containers. It's the really clear looking containers. Sometimes there's different like Windex and stuff like that can be in there. It's the standard containers that look like a water bottle. It's the best way I can describe them. The second one is your HDPE. The HDPE is shampoo bottles, conditioner bottles, body wash. It's going to be your detergent. It's your softeners, but it also is milk jugs are in this category as well. So this right here, number 1 and number 2 are the only 2 plastics that are recycled. So you'll notice there that Cool-It container is not on there. The yogurt container is not on there. Those are 4 and 5. And while they are recyclable, there is no industry for it and nobody recycles. So those fall under what we call other plastics. That's going to be 3 through 7. Your 3 is PVC. It's your piping that's, that for the sewer, for water. It's your sprinkler pipe. Obviously, that's made to not degrade. So it's not made to break down. That doesn't get recycled. 4 and 5, as I said, are like your Cool-It containers, your yogurt containers. Those old squeezable mustard and ketchup containers are also a 4. The only reason that they aren't up there is because there's nobody to buy it. So For recycling to work, there has to be an end use for it, and there is no end use for 4s and 5s. On the 1 and 2, if you notice, the easiest way to identify these, they are the ones with screw-off caps. If you look at it and it has a screw-off cap, more than likely it's in this category. You look at it and it has a film that you have to pull off or something like that, then it's probably not in this category. That being said, you know, if you're pulling off the ketchup, the little thing at the top of ketchup that's, you know, that's pressed on paper, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the yogurt container that has that little aluminum tab on it or whatever. Any of them that have a some type of screw-on lid are generally going to be in that 1 or 2 category.
What about a still aerosol can like Lysol?
So an aerosol can, the aerosol cans themselves, if they're completely empty and punctured, they can be recycled because they have metal. We ask not to have like paint and stuff like that because obviously the paint's gonna make a difference. Something like a Lysol that's just a disinfectant, as long as it's washed out and punctured, then it's okay to go in there. They don't want it with pressure still in it. So if it's emptied out, just punch a hole in it and then it can be recycled. But take the plastic cap off and stuff like that. So thank you, that's a good question. So that leads me into couple things here. What cannot be recycled? Okay. These are the items that we see all the time. This is what cannot be recycled. Please understand when I say it cannot be recycled, I'm not saying that there's not a place to recycle. I'm saying that we cannot recycle it in our green waste or in the collection containers that we have in the parks, right? This is the number one problem I have. Plastic bags. Plastic bags, anything you put in a plastic bag and send to the recycler is guaranteed to go in the garbage. They will not open it. They will not look at it. It doesn't matter if it's in a clear plastic bag, a blue plastic bag. If it's in a bag, it's getting thrown out. And we're paying for it to get traveled up to Salt Lake, and then we're paying for it to get dumped. Put it in a bag, going in the trash. Second thing is, you tie up those nice little grocery bags, toss them in there. That's also trash. There are places to take grocery bags. Most of the grocery stores will take them back. Walmart, Harmon's, I think Macy's and Smith's do. They usually have a little box at the front of the store where you can put that stuff in. It doesn't go in our recycling. There's a couple of reasons. First off, the plastic bags, they don't have a lot of time. They're trying to sort through truckloads of material. They don't have time to cut open bags. So they're not going to do it how much given past now. The other problem is, you can imagine a guy standing on a conveyor belt as it's going by. A bag comes along, he cuts it open. First off, he has to have some type of cut instrument to cut it open, which is keeping them from sorting. He cuts it open and it's not recyclable. It's spaghetti sauce. What's happened to his conveyor belt? All of the materials that now will run onto that conveyor belt. So they're not going to open that bag up and risk it. They're going to just toss it out and assume that it's trash. And that's even unclear because they don't know what's there. They might be able to see the outside, but they don't know what's. Especially, you have to remember that all of the material that gets there is also compacted, right? It's compacted by my garbage trucks, and then at the transfer station, they compact it again. So by the time it gets there, it's all been compacted really tight in that plastic bag. Now they're trying to pull that outside of the materials. So that's the number one problem we have. It's plastic bags. This is the number 2 problem. Less. back to that conveyor belt and the gentleman on that conveyor belt. You put glass in your recycling bin, it's gonna get compacted and those jars are gonna shatter. Now that piece of cardboard has a bunch of jagged pieces of glass in it. Again, when it comes to that guy on the conveyor belt, we're talking safety and stuff like that. Now we're looking at him getting injured, cutting his hands, stuff like that. So there is a place to recycle glass. There's a bin sitting out here, right next to where they're building the new fire station. It goes up. Every time it gets filled up, we'll haul it to Salt Lake and recycle it. We used to get paid for it. Now we no longer get paid for it, but in a reduction in the amount of material that we would be taking and paying $36 a ton or now $40 a ton to pay for to go to as garbage. We consider that a benefit to not have that cost, negative cost. So there's no positive cost for it, but we are saving that amount of money by taking it up and having it recycled up in Salt Lake. We can get somewhere between 5.5 and 6 tons of glass every time we're doing dumping. Styrofoam. Everybody gets the boxes, TVs, all of that stuff come in these huge boxes. And they have all of the styrofoam and everybody wonders what to do with it. Please don't put it in the recycling bin. It takes up space in there. It doesn't compact very good and it is not recycled. It's garbage. Plastics 3 through 5, as I mentioned. Here are your yogurt containers, your Cool Whip containers, the old school ketchup and mustard bottle, PVC pipe, and your other plastics, your chairs, your crates, stuff like that. Industrial, if you want to think of this stuff as industrial, when they build something industrial, they don't want it to get recycled. It's not made to recycle. 1 and 2 are specifically designed for easy breakdown. A chair, a plastic chair isn't designed to be broken down and recycled. It's also not designed to fit in our garbage can, right? So this material here is not recycled. So plastic pipe, polypropylene, that's your yogurt cups, Cool Whip containers, margarine containers, plastic chairs actually fall in that, storage containers. Plastic 6 is styrofoam, plastic 7 is other. Plastic 4 is your squeeze bottles, plastic condiment bottles, your toothpaste tube. 3 is your plastic pipe, your PVC medical blister packets. That stuff is garbage, in the garbage. Here's another big one, shredded paper. Shredded paper is very recyclable. Of course it can be recycled, it's paper. It doesn't go really good in machines. That conveyor belt that I was talking about is not really the full operation. There's a bunch of machinery that goes through. It's a bunch of rollers. And a lot of it is a belt system and a lot of it is roller systems. And those roller systems, this shredded paper has a tendency to fall through those rollers. And then it gets wrapped up in the machinery. Those plastic bags I talked about, they're really notorious for getting on the rollers. When I worked for Waste Management a decade ago, the facility that we had in Phoenix when I was down there would break for an hour between every shift. at $1 million per hour just to cut plastic bags off those rollers. So 3 times a day, $3 million in loss just to cut plastic bags off. So that's a big one. That's the main stuff. Talked about, there is a handout. Please grab the handout. We go into detail on what is acceptable, where you can take it if it's not acceptable. It's also on the website. If you have questions, call customer service. They have access to it. I get questions all the time from them to try and answer, individual questions. The kind of the mentality these days is when in doubt, throw it out, right? If you look at, I don't have a copy of it right now, but if you were to look at the amount of plastic that falls in that 3 through 7, you'd see that it's maybe 1% of the plastic we get, but it causes a lot of problems. Some of the other stuff that they have asked us not to recycle is not necessarily because it's not beneficial, but because that little thing will cause huge amounts of problem. So one of those is aluminum foil. Aluminum foil is completely recycled, but they get so much of it that has oil, food waste, scrap on it, that they've said, we're wrecking 10% of our good material for 1/3 of 1% of our material that we can recycle. So let's just get rid of all of that and save the other material. And so that's what they're trying to do right now, is ask for more of the good stuff while weeding out the smaller amounts of bad stuff. And as long as we're able to do that, then it does become beneficial to us. Right now, our diversion rate, at the most recent number I've seen was 26.2%, was contaminated or not recyclable, which is a big improvement because we were at one point up to 42%. So, any questions on recycling?
This is great education and the trick for me was gonna get it passed out to everybody else so they're all aware of it. I'm wondering the little do's and don'ts slip that you've got up there, would it be possible to have it made into stickers and they could be stuck underneath the lid of the glue lid bin so that when you open it up, you can see it?
It actually is on the top of the lid.
It's kind of stenciled in, but
It's been fading, but we've tried to do that. The problem with putting them on the lids, the inside of the lids, do tend to get trashed up. They get scraped up and stuff like that. So that's why we're trying to put it on the top. We didn't know exactly how long that would last, but I know on the most, my bin, for instance, it's starting to get worn off. So we are trying to come up with some different programs. I was just talking to Hannah earlier today. We were talking about maybe a magnet or something like that we could send out, put it on the fridge, put it next to your garbage can, something like that. So we are trying to update this. We put out a number of videos. We're in the process right now. Everything is on the website now, and we are trying to come up with better ways of getting this out.
that magnet's a good idea, yeah. Something right there for everybody. You can just point, say, go look at that if you have a question.
Yeah. So that is something that we are in the works. That's in the works. Thanks. Any other questions, anybody? Let me move on to one more thing here real fast. So just the end of March, or end of April, sorry. the Southern Utah Valley Solid Waste District, South Utah Valley Solid Waste District, SUVSWD, is where our recycling and our trash goes to. It's the transfer station. If you've taken trash down to Springville before, just trying to put it out. That location that was on 4th South behind the Love's Truck Stop has closed. So they have moved down the street. So they're just off of Main Street in Spanish Fork now. So down another half block, turn at the end of those like apartments before you start heading into Benjamin. And it's down almost to the sheriff's department is where it is. So the new address, right here. No, I don't.
Google Spring Creek
Yeah.
Fire Station.
Sorry, I thought I had to put it on that slide. If you Google Spring Creek Transfer Station or Dry Creek Transfer Station, or just even SUVSWD, if you just Google SUVSWD, you will get the district. The new facility, this is the new facility here. It's made to have separate entrance for residents, commercial. This is some construction pictures. I didn't have a better picture. The commercial comes in at this side here. Residents are coming in over here now. And then you have your household hazardous waste collection. This is the collection site for household hazardous waste, for paints, solvents, for tires, TVs. It's the county collection site. So they have this side of it set up for that. And we have our own setup over here for recycling. So no longer should we be having that problem where we used to, in such a confined space, we used to have some of our trash get into the recycle and some of our recycle get into the trash. So this is a much bigger facility. Inside of it, they have an area over here where they can take tires off of rims. You can bring in refrigerators, you vacuum. This down here at the very end is our new recycling. And this is, it's very big. It's really convenient for you guys to get in and out. So please, if you have something that needs to go down, that's a great place to go. That's it for me. I know I probably took up some of Hannah's time, so.
Very valuable.
Not to answer questions if you guys have.
Great. Let's, I'm gonna have to change my recycling. Your containers and everything. Okay, next, the sustainability, the street sustainability. Thank you. And here's our chair, Sarah. Do you want to come up? Take your place?
Yeah, I want to see the screen.
Okay, yeah.
There's
So, we have, sorry, Hannah.
Thank you. I'm Hannah Salzl. I'm the sustainability coordinator for Provo City, so working with Bryce and others. I'm actually going to mostly be on our sustainability website. I would like to orient you guys to what other services we have, what information we have online, everything that Bryce was talking about, and a lot more. So I'm going to be back at the laptop so that you guys can see the website. I can navigate you through. Then when you look at it on your own later, it's familiar.
And it's just the development services and then sustainability, right?
Yes, you can even Google Provo sustainability and it's the top hit there. So, just gonna make this a little bigger. If you are on the Provo homepage, I'll guide you through. Again, you can just Google Provo sustainability, but we are under the development services department. So departments, development services, and then sustainability, or in that third bar, you can put sustainability. Feel free to call our main office if you have any questions. They'll transfer you to me and I can answer them directly. I love chatting with everyone. This is meant to be kind of a one-stop hub network site that will give you an overview of information and then send you off to other departments' pages so they keep more specific information. I'm not hosting everything on every program here, but I will host enough to help you find it on the main page where Bryce updates it for his department. The four biggest things are up here, and then we've got some drop downs already too. We have, starting at the end, a full conservation resiliency plan looking out through 2050 for sustainability goals, dealing with water conservation, carbon emissions, tree canopy coverage, waste diversion and recycling. Everything you can want to know about the city's overall vision and long-term goals is right there. Recycling is another huge one. It's everything Bryce just talked about. Also, all of these are hyperlinked. So feel free to just click on it and it'll take you right to Bryce's page that he updates with everything that he's talked about. Here are his do place the recycling bin and do not place the recycling bin for easy online access. Back to this version, we have some water-wise programs. I'll spend a second on these because they're really helpful. I'm also happy to come talk to you about them in more detail later, if that's something people want. We are not part of the turf trade where you get to xeriscape your yard and then get a rebate per square foot. They had some requirements for cities to join that we decided not to make, but we've got our own program to hopefully fill those gaps. You can upgrade to high efficiency sprinkler nozzles. We've got rebates for those. We also have a narrow park strip conversion of our own. If your park strip is under 4 feet, we will give you a rebate to help you put in either permeable pavers or something like that that will still let water through, or xeric landscaping. Just water-wise landscaping generally. That's only for park strips under 4 feet. Provo turf trade, we sell basically at cost. We pay shipping, so we pay a slight loss on this actually. A drought-tolerant grass seed mix that you can put in your yard in a limit of 5 bags per resident. That should be more than enough for your yard, and we have installation guides. The biggest way if you want to save on your water bills, the #1 thing you should be doing, but you can partner this with all the other programs and really make a big cut, is upgrade to a smart controller. And we partner with Ratio for their smart controllers. They're excellent. They will gauge weather, they will time what the temperature is and adjust your watering accordingly. Some surveys and analyses done have shown that this can save between 30 to 50%. Some have even said 40 to 60% of the water you use. You're still watering your plant as much as they need, it's just cutting back on the waste. Partner this with the high efficiency nozzle, you're set. And you'll see the decrease on your water bill. We also have a tree giveaway program. This is the regular energy department tree giveaway program they've been doing for several years, as well as tips on how to care for your trees, as well as general water-wise tips. These I highly recommend taking a look at. It's a lot more nuanced, and there's always something you can be doing. Even if you've been doing great on your yard, take a look, see where you can maybe up your game a little bit. And then the last are these electric tool and appliance rebates, which I'll address in one of the drop-down menus. I think I have a better snapshot than the website provides. Air quality was the #1 concern for Provo residents. The #1 source of air quality is our cars, but obviously we can't always get rid of them. I drive a car, I have to for my lifestyle. But smart things like not idling. If your car's gonna be on more than 10 seconds, just go ahead and turn it off. You save a ton of gasoline that way, as well as improving our air. There are so many toolkits for things you can do. The #2 source of air pollution is our homes, specifically our gas systems, like our gas HVAC and our gas water heaters and all of that. There are tips on how to use those smarter out there. I don't have any on this website for you, but if you decide to upgrade to electric, we do have rebate programs to help you do that as well. That improves the air quality not only ambiently, generally in our community, but also specifically within your own home. Our water-wise programs is linked again to everything that we talked about. showing a partnership. This is how we view everything of what our city is doing as an organization and what we are helping you as residents do as well. That's where we think we're going to see the maximum benefit for our community in that partnership. Provo is working on clean energy. We're at about 45% renewables currently, working toward a good sustainable development mix with a goal of 100% by 2050. These are these rebate programs. Sorry if it's a little small on the screen. You can trade in any of this equipment. And when you dispose of the old one, we'll give you a rebate for it. It's a pretty straightforward program. It's very popular, very time proven. Works really well. Here's more of the recycling info with some easy condensed information. We also have information on our compost yard with a fun little video, a little shop of horrors, what you can and can't put in your green bin. Feed Me Seymour green bin parody. Fantastic, highly recommend. We have our 1,000 Trees program. This has come up before. If you have a spot in your community, we can work with our Parks Department to find something, or if you have suggestions, we would be happy to come help coordinate a tree planting and provide some trees. And the tree plantings in your neighborhoods are also eligible for the matching grants from the council office. So we can share the costs of putting those trees in your neighborhood. We do put them in on Park Street or on park strips where old trees have died out or where there's not enough trees. Those park strip trees are especially beneficial for shading our road and absorbing emissions of cars. We do not, if it is a new build, come put those trees in. That is a requirement we have for the developers to do, and that's part of the cost of development. But in established homes, in bare park strips, in parks, other spots like that, if you see any gaps, let me know. There's finally some information on the Citizens Sustainability and Natural Resources Committee. They meet every third Tuesday from 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. There is a core group of people approved by the mayor for this committee, but it is also welcome to the community. Come learn, come ask questions, come talk, come join the conversation, represent your ideas, see what we're doing. We would love to have you. We meet right in this room. All the information is here and on the Facebook page. The last thing I will show you is right back up at the top. How can I learn more about what Provo is doing? Last year, we did a Preserving Provo campaign where we did newsletters, and every month we addressed a different topic, with the exception of January and December being an intro and wrap-ups. These are 10 different topics: air quality, composting, active life water, energy use, open space, urban camping with trees, and indoor water use. I'll pick composting, for example. These are great if you just want to learn what Provo is doing, but also learn what options there are for you. We've got some overviews, specifically what's going on in Provo. We have helpful information, do's and don'ts. We, in every single one, try to list 3 things the city is doing and 3 things residents can do. Provide some fun information. For example, last year we composted as a city 6,000 tons of green waste, over 6,000 tons. For example, all the big trees that were here on Center Street that had to be cut down because they were too old and they were at risk of falling on cars, those were all cut down, chopped up, turned into compost, and sold throughout the community, spread throughout our parks, where they can continue giving back. Last page is always some additional resources and a fun challenge. Sustainability is a hugely broad topic that touches not just environmental sustainability, but also our social health, our financial health, and the long-term well-being of our community and our government system. So I've tried to include as much as I could here to be a resource for you. Feel free to keep exploring it, pursue any of these that I didn't go into enough detail on, anything that caught your interest. And if you have questions, really do come chat with me, give me a call. I would love to help you get more involved. Oh, my name again, just a reminder, is Hannah Salzl, S-A-L-Z-L, kind of like Salzburg. For the city, my extension is 6423. You just call customer service and ask the sustainability coordinator.
Thank you, Hannah. That's really interesting too. Just bought an electric lawnmower, and so we should get. Thank you. Our library representative, our city council, our school district representative. Is that you? Yes, thank you so much.
Sorry.
Can you stand?
Yeah, I'm good, and I'll use the little clicker here. Won't take too much of people's time,
Thank you.
but I appreciate the chance to come and talk to you guys, give you a little update of some things happening in Provo City School District right now, but more than anything, just introduce myself again as a board member so that if you ever have questions or concerns or things at your school that you want to bring up, this is why we're here. And I really want to hear from people. If it's something you've heard that's happening or something your own family is experiencing as board member, representing several neighborhoods in this district, I really do care and want to know. So my name is Lisa Boyce, and you also will sometimes see Gina Hales here. And then I think occasionally Rebecca Nielsen. We're going to kind of be trading off, but the three of us divide your district neighborhoods between our districts as board members, as representatives, but really you could reach out to anyone on the board anytime, and I hope they would all be responsive to you about the things on your mind. Okay, I'm like 100 years old. I've never used one of these before. Are you ready? Let's see. Oh my gosh. Right? A new trick for this dog. Okay. So this is sort of a repeat of something I know you've seen before, but we have been working all year on a strategic plan. When I was first elected to the board, to my knowledge, nobody could tell me what the board goals were or with any kind of clarity what we were managing our superintendent to do. And that is problematic because I think clarity is kindness. And also, how can we measure success if we don't know what our benchmarks are and we're not giving you that data? So we've spent the year working together to come up with a strategic plan and really narrow the scope, because it was an interesting process to see. And you can, we got hundreds of survey feedback from the community and so much information, and there were like 12 priorities and so many good values and so many great things. And I just felt like we will never accomplish them if we are trying to keep track of so many things. So we have really narrowed the scope to these three main priorities, which are academic achievement. And we know this looks not just at achievement, like where your kids are, but also growth, because sometimes someone may not yet be hitting a standard, but if they have shown more than a year's worth of growth from where they were at the start of the year to the end of the year, that's a huge win for a teacher. And a lot of kids come to school with different variables and different risk factors. And what we need to see is everybody growing in improvement, but also we want to see academic achievement. That is the job of our public schools. And so we want our kids not just to be kind of hitting benchmarks, but we actually want to think about what does a graduate need to look like, because it's really different than when I was coming out of school in terms of some of the skill sets and things that people need to be able to do. The second priority, and these priorities, by the way, came from largely the community, and then it was interesting to see the overlap with our teachers and our employees and our students and parents, but overwhelmingly wellness and safety probably ranked the highest in people's concerns and people's priorities for kids right now. We want to make sure that we are aware and reducing any kind of bullying and harassment that could happen in a school setting, and that every kid sits in a classroom and thinks, I belong here as a learner. And then equally important is that they look around that room at every other kid in their classroom and think, and you belong here as a learner. And we want that for our kids. We want to do that in a supportive framework around being kind and looking out for each other and listening to voices that aren't the exact same as ours in a way that shows respect and never contempt. We also are looking at just school safety. As you know, there was a big school safety bill that passed our legislature this last spring, the cost of which, just for the record, is $500 million for schools. That was an unfunded piece of legislation of things that we need to have. We need to have a school safety assessment done and then an armed guardian in every school at all times. And that armed guardian can't be a teacher or a principal. And there actually need to be two at every school in case one is out of the building. And so that, as you can imagine, is going to take a lot of work to make sure it's done well. And that we are mindful of who those people are. It also diverts a significant amount of funds for Provo. Because we need to make sure that everyone who ends up being an armed guardian has a really careful background check, a really careful psych eval, a lot of good training that we're working with the city police department on what is the best training. We'll need to purchase and be mindful around firearms. There's a lot of pieces to this, and that's just one piece of school safety. But to make sure that we do this in a way that improves safety and doesn't actually decrease safety, in my view, that seems really important. So wellness and safety, and then stewardship of resources. And this is both our money that we bring in from your property taxes and use. We need to be really clear and transparent with you around where that money is and isn't going. And then it's also an awareness of the resources, the human resources that we have. This last year, there is a pay gap, I'm sure you've heard, between us and our neighboring districts. It's not as big as I thought it was when I looked at our starting salaries versus Nebo and Alpine, which we're always trying to catch up to. But where you saw a big gap was our teachers who've been here 5 to 15 years. And that spread started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So this last year, we took a bunch of money and we made some cuts in some areas that were hard in our schools, to be honest with you. But we felt like it was important to try to close that gap for our more experienced teachers. So we decided to focus in terms of money and pay around our teachers who've been there between 5 and 15 years. And so we gave longevity bonuses. It will take a while to catch up on this, but we closed from where some of the gaps were over $10,000 to less than $2,000. And that is not insignificant in our district. And we are hoping that we're going to show our teachers that this is the place to be and that we really value them because we want them to stay. We want people invested in Provo City and in our community and in our kids. Okay. Oh, and on that strategic plan, something that I'm hoping to do, but we haven't had this discussion as a board, so I speak as one person, and this does not represent the views of the board, but I would like to have a dashboard where you can see for every goal that we have in our strategic plan, reading, math, science, health, safety, you see our baseline data at the start of this school year. Where are we on each of these benchmarks? And then mid-year and end-year, you can see where we are on that data on measuring success as a way to say, are we in fact hitting these goals as a school district, and what can we do better? All right, here are a couple things. This year, it was incredible to see our school district leadership team actually visited every single school in Provo on the first day of school. And they had such a fun kind of traveling show that they went around with just to really celebrate the magic in Provo City School District. Superintendent Dow has a theme last year. It was around the book, The Boys in the Boat, and finding our swing together as a district and a little less silos and departments doing their own thing and a little more collaboration. And this year it's cultivating the magic. And there's a book called something, The Culture in Your Kingdom. And it talks about the cultures based on kind of Disney but the idea of creating a place. And Superintendent Dow really does have the vision that Provo City should be the destination district in the state of Utah. That we have Silicon Slopes, 2 colleges and universities supporting us. We have this incredible, vibrant Provo City, and really all the ingredients here to be the best in the state and to have kind of a reputation of, if you're moving to Utah, you want to buy property in Provo because you want your kids in these schools. Or if you're working as a teacher, you want to apply to work in Provo because you're not going to find better support for your profession than in Provo. We just are about to give out our teacher mini grants. This is money from you guys, from the foundation, which raises money just from the community. We have fundraisers throughout the year, and that money is not your taxpayer dollars. This is donated money that runs through the Provo City School District's foundation. And so from now until like the end of the first week of October, teachers apply for grants. I would like $100 for bubblers, for a lab and fish, for fish tanks, for a lab I'm doing in science class, or I want to take my students on a field trip to this place. The amount and the request of the teachers ranges from $50 to $100 to $1,000, and the foundation tries to fund as many of those as they can. And this year, they've increased from last year awarding $9,000 worth of teacher mini grants to $15,000 this coming year. And that's really thanks to a lot of your participation and donation. We have a golf tournament coming up. If anyone here likes to golf, that raises money. We have a Easter basket auction every spring, but that money goes partially to fund this. Something else I just wanted to tell you, Shoreline is open for business, and when we had our open ribbon cutting open house, we had so many people. They said they've never seen that many people come out to a school district event in Provo, and it was just really exciting to see. As with anything that's new, they're working on all the little things, that punch lists that come up when you first go into a new building. And that also includes making sure that we've got safe routes to that school. We're just, learning. I was just talking with Eric today about this, about where are the bus routes? Where are our kids crossing? What are those roads like? Are we making sure that everyone has a safe route to that school? If you have a concern about that, I would love to hear about it. And then I wanted to give you guys a heads up about CAPS. I don't know if you know about this, but Provo City School District has a Center for Advanced Professional Studies. It's housed in the New Skin building on the main floor in this beautiful office space. And companies and businesses around Utah County, actually, we have a lot of people from up in Lehigh, et cetera, come and they pitch projects to our students that they're hiring project managers to do in these four different strands: digital design and software development, business marketing, entrepreneurship, engineering and industrial design, and medicine and health sciences. And then these students sign up and are placed on a team, and they work as a project manager, and they actually deliver the product to the company which uses that. And it's been an incredible opportunity for our students. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. We're looking to expand our career and technical education in the future here in Provo, even looking at things like aviation programs, diesel mechanic programs. We have just a lot of ways that we can help our students be prepared for different things post-secondary education. And then just if you don't know what's happening in Provo, but you want to know, every Monday our superintendent sends out a video cast that she sends one to to all the employees, one to parents and community members. And that just gives you a quick update on everything happening that week in Provo schools. If there's a board meeting coming up, she'll talk you through kind of what some of those issues are in case something there is on your radar and you want to have input in that. And then she has a podcast every Friday, which is really, those are fun. And they take a little more, podcast takes a little longer to listen to than the weekly thing. And the weekly thing, you can put those on fast speed. But the info on this is on the provo.edu website. So if you're interested in these and you're not getting these updates, there's also a way to sign up for construction updates. And they send you out those updates, letting you know exactly where our different construction programs are going. Cell phone policy, we have that on our website and we're asking for feedback. We are really looking to figure out the right way to handle the distractions of phones and smartwatches in classrooms. Currently, there is a no cell phone case through 6 policy in our district, and both middle schools have a bell to bell from the time school day starts till the time school ends, and no cell phones. The 2 different high schools have different policies right now. Provo just rolled out a new policy at Provo High. No phones in classes, with kind of a list of who can confiscate the phone and what happens. We are looking as a board at unifying a policy for the whole district. And across the country right now, this is a thing ranging from people putting phones into little pouches that kind of lock the phone down at the start of the high school day and unlock it at the end, to cell phone lockers in a class where you can see your phone, cabinets locked. I mean, there's a lot of different ways schools are handling this, all of them with different costs and different unintended consequences. And so we want input, and we're going to be taking that input from the community for the next couple of months, as well as from students and parents and teachers, to make sure that we come up with something that's sustainable and really going to meet our needs. Other policies, we're talking about sensitive materials. The legislature expanded their list of things that we need to be really careful of, past just the books in our library or in our classroom settings, to and the curriculum that we use, but to also, if you have an assembly, if you bring in a guest speaker, if you have links connected to a lesson, and that link could be clicked on and lead you to somewhere, that all of those are being carefully vetted. And so there's information on that. Kindergarten readiness, new code of ethics, which is really just same code of ethics, but already school safety, etc. And I think those are the main things. I just wanted to give you guys, we have 2 board meetings a month. We take public comment during the second half of the board meeting, which is the business part of the board meeting. But the first half of the board meeting, which is our work session, is actually where I think the interesting dialogue happens. That's when we talk about what an issue is, what we want to do, et cetera. By the time we get to that second meeting, if you're just coming to hear something, you won't hear much, because by then we really hashed a lot of things out and we're just moving to items of business as quickly as possible. And I think that's it. We have these 2 student board members, and they're awesome, and we love having them already. They were like, wait, everyone has to opt in to any survey, every parent, every time. What about when Student Gov has a survey around what day you want to have, you know, this kind of dance or whatever? Will that have to be approved by the superintendent? And we were all like, oh, you know, want every student survey, but also wait, if the whole student body is going to look at a survey, then yes. So their voice is really important, and we're one of the few districts in the state that have student board members. I think that's it. Happy to answer any questions. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. It's so good to learn about these things from our city and school representatives. Well,
If I may amend your comment, that we have an electric lawnmower, and you might be thinking of one with a power cord, you plug it in. I have had those years ago. I haven't had any in a long time. I have 2 green cans, and I fill them with grass using a gasoline Honda lawnmower. And I recently bought a Cat battery powered lawnmower, which has the capacity to mulch the grass so fine that when I'm cutting through grass this high and next to it I see a strip of what it is after being cut, I can't see any of the cut grass.
we're real happy with their battery operating.
$250 for each battery, but they are,
Not cheap, so that rebate would be pretty good. I want to recognize our chair came in. Hello.
I'm gonna grab some snacks before getting up there.
But I'll just carry on here. Let's move on to some of our district events. Please let your neighbors know that they should be here. That this is an important meeting for our neighborhoods. And I'd love to see more people here. And our District 4 projects, what we're working on right now, and let me get that clicker. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. With the Lions Park parking lot, there was a plan to repave it, and it certainly needs repaving. You're nodding. You're probably not even ride your bike there, huh? It's so broken up. But the cost expanded for it to such a point that they couldn't really fund it this year. And so that's postponed. We did ask them, and maybe this is our fault, they postponed it, I don't know. We did ask them to complete our sidewalk, and this isn't a very good picture, but we have a little sidewalk that goes around the park. But there's one place where it has to go out in the parking lot. And so it's awkward if you're jogging with your stroller and going around that sidewalk. You get to the parking lot and everything's broken up and you can't go. So we'd love them to complete that. However, that requested sidewalk extension, which is how big, it's like 100 feet.
something like that.
Yeah, it's not very big, $19,000. So maybe next year we can use our matching grant to help towards that. If that works out, but that's a need that we have in our community. But they are this year going to make some improvements to the entry space, the driveway that comes into the parking lot, so that'll be nice. So instead, we're going to use, we have matching funds from last year, $5,000, and that'll go for new batteries for our solar lights in Lions Park, which is really important. Here's an interesting little story. I mean, this is just little, but a neighbor is right next to, on the south side of Grandview Hill. There's sort of a hillside park there. And he said, I'm always picking up cigarettes. Now, you're not supposed to smoke in city parks, but, so he said, I'm always picking up cigarette ends there. And could we put a receptacle there? This receptacle costs like $30. So we were thinking about, we have some community funds, but when we asked the city about it, they said, oh, we'll just put that in. What a good idea. They couldn't put it in the park, but they'll put it on the light post that is on the property of this property owner. So that was just another example of, you know, how our neighborhood program works to solve problems that neighbors have. You may remember a year ago, we did a big hillside cleanup in Lions Park, and we plan to do that again in May or June of next month. And so put that on your calendar, plan for that.
Next year.
Hmm?
May or June next year, right? Not
Next year.
fall.
Oh, 25, sorry.
Just making sure I wasn't missing something next month.
Yeah, thank you. So what we need to think about next, we're going to do that project and we'll get our hours in for our matching funds. And so what are we going to use the money for? Possibly towards that sidewalk, which will be kind of a drop in the bucket for that big expense. Or we've been working on this Carterville path for years, but it's really expensive. At first, they quoted us like $20,000, and now it's actually $400,000. And here's what we have. Yesterday's city council. Rachel, do you want to speak to this?
So Gordon Haig, he's the Director of Public Works. He gave a presentation to the City Council yesterday about sidewalk projects, and then he had a list of honorable mentions, which are things that they would like to do, but they do not have money for them. And so it used to be the Carterville path was a big no because we didn't have permission from the property owner. And it was kind of a big deal that at that meeting yesterday, he said that they gave us the landowner gave them a letter that said the city can have the right of way. And it sounds like the landowner really wants this to happen. It would just make more people come to their shops. So it makes sense. And so it's great that we have the right of way, but the landowner is not offering to contribute any funds to this project, and it's now projected at $400,000. So let me have Councilor Catrice McKay speak on this.
In the price changes the idea of what they're gonna be doing, because there's the original thought was to be like a gravel thing, and it just wouldn't be very safe, like weather, time, but they're gonna do a legit path now that will have lighting, and it would be concrete and have the right steps they need, and with a slope, you have to do, the concrete's harder to do and all those things to make it safe for all ages, and because now there would be liability involved, just the whole big picture, so it's not just a quick non-lasting project anymore. When we do it, we are gonna do a legit project that will last a long time and be safe for everyone.
It'll be great when it happens. But in the meantime, people are sliding down the hill on dirt, and it's too bad. But I'm glad we got the honorable mention, and I'm glad we got that right way. That's a big hurdle. So we're getting there. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize our city council representatives, Patrice and Gary. Okay, so here's something that somebody has requested that we put in a monument, possibly an exchange park representing the indigenous people of Utah, which would be great. This is not the actual monument, it's something I got on the internet. But here are some notes from Wayne Levitt, who is recommending that this is done in Provo. And these are some ideas that he has. Some of them I think would be way too expensive.
And Wayne is here if you want
Oh,
to
Wayne.
let
Question.
speak about it.
Speak to this, just briefly.
Hi, everyone. My name is Wayne Levitt. I live in the Joaquin neighborhood, which is the only neighborhood here in Provo named after an indigenous individual, believe it or not. But I've been looking at historical markers across the valley and noticed that here in Provo, we have room for improvement. And we have so much history here that would be really just amazing to have available to the public and these nice public spaces like Exchange Park. And these sorts of things can take all sorts of different forms. Some are a lot less expensive, others would be a lot of work and a lot of organization. I'm not here to tell District 4 what they have to do or need to do or anything like that, but I was very happy to get a response from the District 4 leadership, a sign of interest, and happy that it's being brought up here. I'm curious how everyone feels about trying to pursue some sort of recognition, especially Exchange Park, which was a very historical event there that we could talk about later, but anyway, that's basically it. I could talk a lot about this subject, but I really want to hear what people have to say.
Thank you. We'll have a discussion at the end about what you're interested in. But, we have $7,500 a year, so I don't know how much these would cost, but.
And so the sand pitch statue, for example, that took several years for them to get up. It's in Mount Pleasant, but it took years of effort.
Yeah, it's great, and I am glad we have that little sign anyway.
Yeah.
And throughout the city of Manhattan, there's several signs that tell about the indigenous influence here. I do love that. Somebody else has requested a chess table in the park.
And Mark Peterson is here.
Oh, hi, Mark, do you want to tell us about the chess table?
Sure.
And we have this.
Yeah, let me get you. Here, we got a mic for you.
Okay, let's see if I can stand.
Summer injuries.
Yeah. Well. So my name is Mark Peterson. I'll confess that I actually live in your district. However, one of the parks that I think would be really good for a chess table is in your district, and then it's North Park. I've known how to play chess since I was 8. And when I say play, I mean I know how the pieces moved. The last 6 months or so I've become somewhat of an enthusiast, so learning, playing as many games as I can, and the thought was struck me, other cities have public chess tables. If movies are anything to go by, they generally attract a crowd. And so the last couple of weeks during the farmers markets, I wanted to test that theory out. I've shown up with 3 chess sets, set one up and just see if you want to play. It's open 2 weeks, but I am really enjoying the experience. If you recall last Saturday, the heavens opened and we got drenched. I thought it's going to chase everyone away. No, it chased everyone into the pavilion. And I had all 3 of my chess sets going at the same time with people watching and participating. I had a child as young as about 4 want to play me. He had no idea how to play, he just wanted to move the pieces around. I've had retirees and all kinds of people. And what I'm finding is that post-COVID, people are looking for excuses to congregate and to build a sense of community with people that they wouldn't otherwise meet. I think that the benefit of chess tables would be that. Now, the biggest criticism I'm getting as I've floated this out on Facebook and just around is that, well, people have chess tables, people have chess sets. They can always bring them to the park. And you know what, that's right, they can, but they don't. I've never seen someone bring their own chess set. I'm doing it as an experiment, but I've not seen anyone else do it. And I think a chess table tells people that, hey, yeah, this is a place you can come play chess, checkers if you will, or even just cards. It acknowledges that the facility is there. And then as to cost, okay, $7,500 run. I didn't realize we had a projector here, but I bought, someone just handed it around. Yes, please. So this isn't the chess set I'm saying we need to buy. What I am saying is this chess set looks good, and it's well within the budget for the grant. The table itself is $2,600. That's not installed, that's just for the table. The chairs are another 600 on top of that. I haven't really done an in-depth analysis on the costs. I'm reaching out to the parks department to see if they're even interested. But I think with $2,600 and the $7,500 grant, we could even buy two. So I submit this to you for your consideration. If it's in North Park, that would be great. One thing I think North Park has that a lot of the other parks don't have is proximity to the reefs. The other big criticism is that people have to bring check pieces anyway, which is true. People will have to bring that. However, with the rec centre being there, it's conceivable that a checkout system could be put in place. And so that's, if you have any questions, I'll be around.
Discussion next, and thank you so much. That's such a great idea. My son just came back from a trip to Eastern Europe, and he said in all the public places there was chess tables and people just eagerly playing chess, and it's a wonderful feeling, you know, to be together that way.
Yeah, and we reached out to parks, and that's their statement there. They're not too keen about having it at Pioneer or North Park just because they're such busy parks and they're kind of crowded parks. But I asked them, does that mean we could have it maybe in a different park? And they haven't gotten back to me.
And if I could just respond to that, I think the fact that they're busy parks is what makes it work. You know, I'm sitting out during, you know, why would we put them in another park where no one's going to use it? I set up at the farmers market because people are there and they're not there to play chess, but when they see it set up, they come and they play.
I also love that you can sit and eat a lunch. It's not a picnic table in a huge pavilion. It's very intimate, like, you know, and people will not just bring their, they'll go find rocks and pieces of grass and they'll like cut up pieces of paper for chess pieces. Like these will get used.
Like checkers, you know.
Checkers, yeah, not chess, but checkers.
I was speaking to someone, they said, yeah, it'd be really good for cards as well. Although you could use any table, but you know, sometimes.
I like it, they look nice.
I think it'd be nice. Speaking of North Park, someone requested that there's a need for another pavilion at North Park, and I don't know if that's even in the cards at all. It is busy and crowded park, but there aren't very many pavilions there. So, what other ideas do you have for what are your thoughts about these ideas? And do you have other ideas for a matching grant?
I don't play checkers or chess, but I love these because they're different than a picnic table. They're a permanent structure. There's a place for, I'd say even get 4 benches, just so you have, you know, a place that you can also use in a small picnic table. I think these are a great investment.
Oh,
The chess,
the chess tables, yeah, they're not very expensive.
No.
If you're interested, I can send you the link to that,
Yeah,
that actual vendor.
yeah.
Just some more information about them. They're solid concrete. They have a 50-year
Yeah, I
lifespan.
think for the price. I mean, because it's not just chess. You can do a picnic on them. You can have a lunch with your friends. Like, I just think they're such a cool.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. I would say maybe there's maybe other city departments that might be willing to host these chess tables. I'm just in my neighborhood, I'm thinking there's a pavilion by Provo Power that might, and a little strip park there behind the power building, that might be a good spot for that, or in the community garden that we have in our neighborhood, something like this. I don't know what the agreements are for the departments that control the property, but it could, I also think the memorial idea is great, because I know I've looked at the other memorials around, but there's a few memorials like to the pioneers and in Exchange Park where you talked about having it, there's 9/11 memorial, and there's another statue at the playground that have previously been paid for by the neighborhood grants. And I think it would fit great in there too.
I really like the idea of the monument as well. It'd be interesting to get some pricing.
Whenever I'm at a place, I'll always stop and read monuments. So if it's in a monument, I would say more money, more emphasis on the story and the context about why we're honoring this than a huge bronze statue that has no context. I'd rather read a beautiful story that gives me a sense of place than to see this nameless.
And the city's redoing,
Yeah, I love it.
the city's redoing the bridge project over the river there. That might be another good place to put a monument at.
Oh, yeah, if we put them under the overpass where they're all protected, these like stories.
Or right on,
Or-
there's space on the bridge for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. Thank you for you concerned citizens bringing these ideas to us. Thank you very much. One last thing, applications are now being accepted for neighborhood district board. This is a great time, way to help your community and really see results, really hands-on governing experience, not that we're governing, but that we get to work with those who are governing and get things done. So please, if you're interested in any of these things, please make an application to serve on our neighborhood board.
Beth, I think we have a few. Ammon Thompson, he has applied for, is it Grandview North?
It's Carterville.
Oh, Carterville. So, and also, and this, remind me your name again.
Steve Burton.
Steve Burton, you're Grandview North, right? Yes, so, and they've applied.
Also, one more thing before we go, I want to recognize Travis Hogan, who's listening to us on the Zoom. And so we have good representation from our city council, and we really appreciate their concern. Let's see, is there anything else, Rachel?
I think it's just public comment.
Oh, public comment. Now, this is your chance. If you have anything to say, we've kind of been publicly commenting, but is there anything else? Hey.
Yes, that's it. There are applications for neighborhood board. If you have friends, neighbors you think might want to apply, grab a stack. And also don't forget those flyers for the recycling.
Right. Thanks so much for coming.